heavy on you over here.
I'm gonna sit like this, everybody.
I kind of spit when I talk, so.
So, good afternoon, and welcome to the March 2020 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Board Chair Craig Moody is unable to attend today's meeting. In his absence as Vice Chair, I will act as Chair of this meeting. But first, I will ask Tim Burke, President and CEO, to give the safety briefing.
Great. I think most people in this room have received the safety briefing in this room, but so we'll go through it relatively quickly. We would ask you to, there is no public in here. I think we can accelerate it, but we'll talk about our safety briefing. You can exit in the manner in which you came in. We would ask you to not use the elevators in case of a fire, and if you use the steps, to use your 3-point touch, one hand on the railing and 2 feet on the ground. The fire extinguisher is right by conference room A, out the door to my left and around the corner. There's also one in the kitchenette. The AED and the first aid kit are one on top of each other before you go into the cafeteria area on the right-hand side. If you have a medical condition, we would ask you to write it down or tell a neighbor. And obviously, with all the activity that's going on around the coronavirus, we'd ask you to use wonderful hygiene. Cough into your sleeve or leave this room, please. And make sure we have a nice big gallon bottle of Perel over there for everybody to use in the event they need it. So with that, that concludes my safety briefing. And I believe our security folks will call 911 in the event that we need it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now let's run through our list of guidelines for the conduct of the meeting. First and foremost, please silence your electronic devices. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public upon entering the meeting. This meeting is streaming live on the internet at OPPD.com. Thank you for participating. Our regular board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Comments may be made by all parties during the meeting. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are a part of the official public record. Following board discussion on each pending matter, I will ask for public comment before bringing the matter to a vote. Also, prior to adjournment of the meeting, you will have an opportunity to comment on any other OPPD matters. If you wish to speak, please approach the microphone to your far left. I'm assuming someone will be coming in. And state your name and address, and state the name of any organization or person you are representing. Organizations should choose one representative to speak on their behalf. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending at the discretion of the board. To assist you, we use a red, yellow, green light indicator to ensure each member of the public receives a consistent amount of time. Ms. Henners will signal you when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. Please direct your comments to me, should there be any given. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. If you've brought written materials, Ms. Henners will receive them on our behalf. Ms. Henners, will you please take roll call?
Bogner.
Here.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Gay.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Mulhoff.
Here.
Moody, as Vice Chair Yoder noted, he's absent today. Williams.
Here.
Yoder.
Here.
Announcement regarding public notice of meeting. Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in Outlets newsletter and on OPPD.com, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since March 6, 2020, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room. The board consent action items are as follows. Approval of the February 2020 meeting minutes and the March 12, 2020 agenda. And item 6 is 16169 13.8 kV 201.6 MVA OLTC auto transformer resolution number 6366. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to the consent agenda items, I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We discussed these action items at the committee meeting on Tuesday. At this time, I would like to ask if any members of the public have any comments on the consent agenda items. Being none, I'm assuming no. Ms. Henners.
Bogner.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Gay.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Mulhoff.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So the next item on the agenda is the action item. Ms., I'm hoping that
I'll
there's
read
a
the
motion.
resolution. Yep. I'll read the resolution first.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So SD
Jumped
14,
ahead.
Retirement Plan Funding Monitoring Report, Resolution Number 6367. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors accepts the SD 14 Retirement Plan Funding Monitoring Report in the form as set forth on Exhibit A attached hereto and made a part hereof, and finds OPPD to be sufficiently in compliance with the policy as stated.
Thank you.
Motion a second.
Make a motion to approve. Make a motion to approve.
I'm supposed to do that.
Actually, the treasurer. I was waiting, then I will.
I move to accept the SD monitoring report as presented.
Then I'll second it.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much.
All right, so
Tell us about it.
I'm supposed to tee up discussion and social distance. I'm sorry, I'm a toucher. So, so I'll just start. The SD 14 monitoring report, very similar type of report that we saw last year. Retirement fund planning is proceeding as we would expect it to, and so this was kind of boring SD to talk about, but important nonetheless to keep making sure that we're funding it correctly. So thank you very much, team, for making this one an easy one to review. If there are anyone else that wants to make comments, I welcome that now.
I have a comment. This is a time when markets respond to tweets and now a pandemic and then spats between Saudi Arabia and Russia. And so, Javier, it's good to have a steady hand at the helm with our funds. So I just want to thank you and John and the team for making sure that the investments are well taken care of, and that we can meet our future obligations, and that the fund is sustainable, and that you're taking good care of the funds as needed. So thank you.
So certainly compared to some of the other area public pension funds, I think we can rest a lot easier than some other groups around here.
Others?
I just want to thank him for 2-3 years ago, we decreased our discount rate, and I think that's a conservative move and a very important move for us as far as appropriate funding, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate how, as far as the makeup of the pension plan and everything, I think we've got a good team there, Mr. Thurber and group, and I think our advisors, Siegel Markey, have done a great job, especially with adding some new things that will help us during this time. And maybe it might be a good idea for him to comment on that a little bit, since, this is the time that we have had the largest drop in the stock market today in many, many years, maybe since 2018, 2008, right? Yeah, 2008, not 18, yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. So I think, as I mentioned on Tuesday, and thank you for the opportunity to mention it again, because I know some of our employees and retirees may be watching, and I think it's an important opportunity for us to, one, I'm humbled by the trust that you're putting in the team. We will have challenges, of course, as most other participants in the market. Something that I would like to remind the board and our retirees and current employees is that we have an investment policy, a very well thought out investment policy, and we have a very disciplined approach to our investments. This is the same policy, virtually the same policy we had back in 2008, when we experienced similar drops in markets and huge volatility in the markets. And I want to remind everyone in the public that back in the day, as tempted as it could have been for us to change course and make big rebalancing of the portfolio, we did not engage in that type of activity. We held steady, we stuck to our policy, and that paid off really, really well. In 2008, the losses that we had in 2008 were almost completely recovered 1 year later in 2009 by holding steady and really following that policy. It is in these times of financial uncertainty that the emotion can take over the logic and the discipline. And I'm very grateful, and I am very confident that the team will continue to stick to that disciplined approach and not let emotion go over this. This is an incredibly important fund. We have 4,400 people whose lives and retirement future depends on that, and we take that very seriously, and we plan to follow that policy in the same way that we've followed in similar situations like this one we had 12 years ago.
Any questions? Thank you very much for, oh, go ahead.
Oh, just a comment. Yeah, I also wanted to extend appreciation, and you highlighted extremely well some of what we've talked about in recent meetings. I think it was last month. We had some discussion about the idea that while assets have increased in value dramatically recently, the party doesn't last forever. And knowing that we have such a responsible and forward-looking policy in place to protect the future retirement for our employees is extremely appreciated, because I know that they count on that, and having that dedication and focus is really important for them. So thank you for doing that, and to all of your staff for carrying out and being prepared for the volatility, like you said, that is here now.
Oh,
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, it's interesting you mentioned that within 1 year that came back, and last crisis a decade ago. Basically, every decade this happens. This is unprecedented of what's going on now, but there'll be another thing. I would say, and you do a heck of a great job, I agree. But however, I would say it's up to the board to set that discount rate and keep funding this thing, not Javier. He directs us for sure, but it's very crucial going forward, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, that the board keeps funded. And I know we did have a little discussion on the discount rate, whatever your recommendations may be, or the committees or whatever. Those are tough decisions, and I think the board over those years have made good decisions. 70%'s good. We can do better and continue to strive to do that. So I like the way you brought that up at our meeting on Tuesday. You understand the importance of that too, and you stressed it to all of us. So I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
That it sounds to me like the board, I know the board's very committed to keep doing that and keep funding this pension for sure, going forward as needed. It's always needed.
On that note, just a clarification, we are monitoring the discount rate
Yeah,
consistently.
always,
We are scheduled to have a deep discussion on that later this summer. At which point we may get a recommendation from our advisors to change it or to maintain it, and we will relay that to the board. But you're absolutely right. It is the board's decision, and we will keep you informed and present any proposals to change when the time is right.
I would. So before you do, though. Sure. So I would like to echo and make uniform the sense that the board, all the members of the board have for the trust and really the high regard that we have for you and your entire team. I want to also echo the appreciation for monitoring the reduction in the discount rate. It's been several years. It may be time to do it again. We do look forward to the results of your evaluation. At the same time, I also think it's important to recognize the other monitoring and maintenance that you're doing, watching the fund managers, reviewing their abilities or their results over time, and making changes when that needs to happen, but not being, to Janice's point, not being too quick, because there is volatility that's out there, and really, I can't say enough. We do appreciate what you're doing. Now, President Burke had a comment.
Yeah, I think just in follow-up to our conversation on Tuesday, several years ago in 2016, the district in acceptance from the board put together deferred liability accounts that are really focused on, or at least the intention of those were focused on our decommissioning additional funding when we have the capability to do that. And as we have looked at cost containment, cost reductions, but also increased efficiencies, we've been able to identify funds to support these deferred liabilities. One of those is around our decommissioning. The other one is around our pension liability as well. And so as Javier reported this past Tuesday, that fund now is in the $94 million range that we have the capability to use, and as the progress of decommissioning goes, or as we use for additional funding for our pension liability. So both are good conservative approaches, and I think we're in a really good position. So
Right. Yes. Couldn't agree more. Other comments?
Just heads up to Mary Fisher and her group up at Port Calhoun for keeping the decommissioning on target and under budget. We appreciate that, because that means that money will go to the pension fund later.
That's a good follow-up comment. Thank you very much. So Is there any public comment? I do see we now have a member of the public.
Welcome. That's up.
Ms. Sinners, could you provide the roll call?
Bogner,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Molhoff,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the much anticipated, thank you, Director Bogner, by the way, for the report. The much anticipated President's report, I think we get some extra innings this.
We do get a little extra innings. We got a couple kind of important things to talk about. I'll go through quickly kind of the generation portfolio piece. You see our baseload generation, not significant changes here. Good operation around our units, a couple small hours of forced outages. Most of it's market driven today based on kind of what's going on in the market. Also, relative to Fort Calhoun decommissioning, just another component around that. As Ms. Fisher reported on Tuesday, we're about 20 of the 30 canisters are complete. So that's really good. So not only are on time, but we're on budget, and we're doing some really good things there as well. Relative to our peaking facility, not significant changes here. We see a 1% capacity factor for Sarpy County, so very little use of our peaking facilities in the month of January. So I'm going to move pretty quickly to our renewable piece. For February, renewable energy contributed to about 45.6% of our retail energy sales with a wind capacity factor of 50.9% year to date. It contributed to about 41.9% of our retail sales, and the wind capacity factor was 48.6%. Just some of the changes that we've made in our operations. This is a tweet just to let you know we're moving into these technologies, but there was a tweet from a customer because of an outage, and as he reported back, he said, "Hey, take a bow, OPPD. Although I lost power right before I headed to the shower this morning, they answered me on Twitter, called me twice with updates, exceeded even my expectations, and no one around here does that. Thank you very much." So just a credit to the folks in our corporate communications, customer service, and our T&D folks, and how they're working very closely together on these kind of communication to our customer owners. So it's great to kind of reflect that and the changes in the way that we monitor customer feedback. Relative to our fleet electrification, I believe Mr. Fernandez talked about this before. Because of some of the capital optimization that we did later in 2019, we were able to really purchase 6 additional replacement vehicles. But as a result of that, as of March 1st, 100% of our passenger fleet cars have been electrified. And so there's 36 hybrid sedans and compact sedans, 5 plug-in hybrids, and 5 all-electric Nissan Leafs. So it's a great opportunity for us to begin kind of our decarbonization of our fleet, and that's part of the commitment that we have made and will continue to make. Wanted to highlight something that we've done with one of our large customers, and they have operations all throughout the United States. What they're going to talk about here, we're going to let them tell us a story about what we've done to help them be better stewards of their energy usage. And so, Ms. Sinders, I'll let you go to the next slide. And
My name is John Quaid. I'm a senior account executive for OPPD. The promise of public power is to provide value to our customers and help them succeed. One of the ways we help them succeed is to provide programs that will help them reduce electrical consumption and their carbon footprint.
Back in 2008, our buildings were lit with very inefficient T12 fluorescent lighting. And we reached out to OPPD and see if there was any rebate programs out there that we could do to make ourselves more efficient.
The main benefit was to reduce their electrical consumption and their carbon footprint, which was the goal of theirs. So we started off with the lighting. We went from the T12s to the TH, and then the TH to the LED. After that was implemented, we went to the DigiRTU, which is a rooftop controller that we installed on their rooftops. And we did that on the East Building initially. When they seen the results of that, we moved to the Q Street facility and their trailer shop.
Obviously, there's the benefits of cost savings. We're converting all of our facilities to LED. In addition to that, we're looking at all of our new construction and putting the most efficient equipment that we can in there to continue to conserve energy.
So all the LED light fixtures that we have on the perimeter of the building are all set up on a daylight harvesting system. So what that means is as the sun shines in through the windows on the outside of the building, the LED light fixtures themselves actually will dim to a lower light level for energy savings.
The impact of Warner is huge. If you're using it, they're delivering it. You know, they're one of the largest trucking companies in the world. By partnering with OPPD on these projects, the carbon footprint reduction is equal to 30 trucks removed from the road annually.
Our energy costs in 2019 was $102,000 lower than back in 2008.
In 2008, we used 16 million kilowatt hours of electricity, and in 2019, we only used 10 million, a 39% reduction. We've got more things running and using 39% less electrical consumption. I think that's phenomenal.
We are not only building efficiency with our buildings and structures, but with our tractor and trailers delivering freight.
Everything that OPPD has predicted for me has been in excess. They said, hey, we guarantee you we can save you 25%. Well, when it's all said and done and we have the data, they saved us 40%. Under promise, over deliver. I would tell anybody they would be a fool if there's big companies out there that have many RTUs and that type of equipment, not to look into it further.
OPPD has been wonderful. I mean, we've got a long-standing relationship with them. We look forward to getting together and kind of talking through opportunities in terms of improvement. They're certainly on the leading edge and out in front in terms of giving us opportunities to maybe be ahead of some of our competitors out there, and so we're excited about that. They've been great partners to work with, and we couldn't be happier with what's happened so far with what we've installed.
Just a great opportunity for us to, with music in the background, great opportunity for us to really just talk about the Your Energy Partner story. So, and the work that we're doing, not just with Werner, but a variety of other customers. So that was a small, shameless plug, but it's also for Werner and some of the work that they're doing as well. So let's go to the next slide. We're going to do a variety of Honor Our Community activity. We're going to start with fifth graders. So our Society of Engineers 2020 Marshmallow Challenge was designed to promote problem-solving, teamwork, and innovation. It's also part of our ongoing commitment to our to STEM education across our region. So this annual event is held with in conjunction with National Engineers Week, February 16th to the 22nd. And so fifth graders throughout our service territory have the opportunity to participate and build the tallest structure they can in 20 minutes using only dry spaghetti, string, tape, and a marshmallow on top. And so the three winners this year, the first place winner was from St. Margaret Mary. They've won certainly in the past as well. And so their team number one won with a structure that's 36.5 inches tall. Second place went to Hickory Hill with a 35-inch tower built by Doggos, D-O-G-G-O-S. I think that's what that means. And then the third place one goes to Lamb, L-A-M-M, at Brownell Talbot with a 27.5-inch structure. So it's a great opportunity for them to really work together, teamwork, innovation, and some engineering opportunities and skills. So great opportunity for us to partner that, and just a great tribute to our Society of Engineers and the great work that they do, not only here at OPPD, but throughout the region. And then last weekend, we held our 13th annual run and walk for warmth. It was on Saturday, and it was at the Stinson Park. This event is organized by OPPD, Metropolitan Utilities District, and the Common Fund of the Heartland. Also with great participation from Exarban Village, Interrail, and Race Omaha. The event raises awareness and funds for energy assistance. One of our board members, Ann McGuire, and her husband, Dr. Michael McGuire, were our co-chairs of the event this year, and Lozier was the presenting sponsor. We had nearly 600 registered walkers, runners, or virtual donators this year. And then more than 200 participants were from OPPD, either OPPD family or OPPD employees. I'd specifically like to thank, and I'm going to turn over to Director McGuire, specifically want to thank Exarban Village, Salvation Army, Hy-Vee, and our sponsors that supported the event, but specifically Matt Taylor. He opened up Interrail early, had people in for breakfast, and he just did a great job. And then some of us went in for fluid replenishment after the walk, and so that was
There was coffee
that
there,
was
too.
nice. There was coffee there too, and water. There was water there too. So this is our largest fundraiser for OPPD's Energy Assistance Program, and we had a couple board members that were there. So Director McGuire, Director Williams, and Director Mulhoff were there. So thank you very much for participating. And Ann, you wanted to say
I
a few
just
words?
want to, there was a great committee that ran this, with great leadership, and I wanted to give a heads up to Jenny Raddick from OPPD for being our leader this year. She did a great job. Lisa Olson was there as far as communications. Then we had Jessica Heidbrecht from MUD and Jay Roberts from MUD. And Jody, you were there taking pictures and coordinating all the pictures and everything. Thank you so much. And she also coordinated quite a few. We had some TV spots and everything that for the first time we collaborated with MUD and OPPD to go in together as a collaboration. This is a collaboration for both MUD and OPPD, and I think it really highlighted that this year better than ever. Then Gable Britton was there also helping us out quite a bit, and then Judy Martin was there for the Common Fund. And I want to thank everybody. I think we probably raised the most money we ever have.
Yeah, they are still counting it and
They're
all the
still
things.
counting
but
it,
They believe
and-
it'll be over $90,000. So
And,
maybe
and with
closer
the
to 100, so.
Interrail, and hopefully we can have it there again, because that was a great.
That was
and,
good.
And, you know, I think the word will get out that that's a great venue for us.
And HDR
And
also opened up
HDR
their
and Noddle.
office for the
And Noddle
registration.
coordinated
So it was
for
very
us, too.
nice.
As far as results, do we have any updates on the results from the
Well,
event?
I thought there was another picture in here, but I'm not sure it's in here. Is the picture in here?
ready?
It's not in my,
Not, I'm sorry.
it's not. It'll be next month. So can I defer that?
Sounds good.
I think it
Look
was a
forward to that
photo
update.
finish. They're still tallying, but one of our directors was a medal winner, and I'll display that next month in that report. Director Mulhoff.
How fast?
Just fast enough?
Just
Just fast enough, that's all it is, exactly. Yeah, faster than the bear, so that's good. Let's jump to the next, honoring our community. I think it's really appropriate to talk a little bit about what's going on and what OPPD is doing relative to all the recent conversation and preparedness around COVID-19, the coronavirus. It's important to think about us as a critical infrastructure organization because not only do we provide power to our customer owners and energy to our customer owners and services, reliable power to our customer owners, that doesn't just include homeowners, but that does include hospitals, emergency management, police, fire, water stations, wastewater stations, our Department of Defense partners across our service territory. So the work that we do is incredibly critical. And in the event of all this activity going on, with a lot of people in Omaha moving to some telecommuting in some cases, or teleworking, it's really important for us to begin to think about our role and how we make sure they have reliable power in their neighborhoods. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing in preparedness of that, not only inside our organization, but how we're thinking about outside our organization as well. So this slide would talk about our commitment to, one, protecting our employee and our operations. That's critical to how we provide service to our customer owners. Maintaining a reliable electric service to our customers, and then just supporting our customers in so many ways. I'm going to talk a little bit about what decisions we are taking. I'll go back about a month ago, the 1st of February, we had our Infectious Disease Committee to begin to meet already, to begin to think about our plan, update to our plan, begin to do tabletop drilling around our plan with some of the key operational areas. And have come to us with a variety of recommendations just this week, and we want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. Some of the internal operation things that we're going to be doing is, we're restricting our business travel, and we're also restricting visitors from coming into our critical facilities. It's really important for us as we think about our system operators, our plant operators, folks that are out in the field, making sure our customers, not just the businesses, but our customer owners have reliable power to make sure that they're healthy and they're able to do that. So we are taking those precautions, and we'll be restricting business travel. We are going to begin to work through some remote work options as we speak. And some folks are working from home already this week in anticipation or because of some of the impacts that you've heard in the community over the last several days. We're looking at broadening kind of our sick leave flexibility and how that would work, and we'll be working with our collective bargaining unit partners and what that will look like, and certainly working with the rest of our employees as well. We've really begun to beef up over the last several weeks, enhancing our cleaning and our hygiene promotion, not just within our all of our facilities, but also with messages to our employees as well. And then we begin to talk about social distancing, and we'll have a recommendation here in the next day about what that looks like. But it'll be no groups larger than X. I don't know if that's going to be 5 employees or 15 employees, but we're going to be thinking about what that social distancing looks like. And so those are the things, just some of the things we're doing internally in the organization, as well as making sure our staffs are prepared. I'll talk a little bit about some of the discussions that we've had internally and the decisions that we've made relative to our operations. Is that we made a decision to suspend all disconnects through April 30th. And we'll certainly revisit it at that time, and if the cause and the concern is continued past April, we will extend that. But the conversation that we had was really around our core values of passion to serve, honoring our community, and caring for each other, and that includes not only employees but our customers. Our customers should not worry at this point in time on whether or not they're going to be able to wash their clothes, wash their hands, have hot water, be able to clean their homes, to disinfect their homes or their businesses. So we've elected to essentially put that moratorium in place, and we'll revisit that as things develop over a period of time. We are just committed to ensuring electric service remains reliable to our customer owners, especially as more and more will begin to stay at home. And whether they stay at home because family members have been sick, family members have identified that have COVID-19, or that they're just quarantined, we want to make sure that they have reliable service, and many of them are already beginning to work remotely. So it's really important for us to have the electricity that they need at home. Many businesses that operate may have multiple services that service that building. So they have relatively high reliability. It's going to be really important for us as that work goes out in the neighborhoods for us to maintain that high reliability. In order to do that, we want to make sure our employees are healthy so we can provide those critical infrastructure services. And then we are evaluating how we take bills and how we receive bills, and we'll have those kind of conversations over the next several days as our teams continue to meet and provide recommendations. But I would encourage customers, when you come into our facility, you could be impacting a critical infrastructure facility. There are a variety of online options that I would encourage customers to think about if they have the capacity and the capability to do that, to pay those bills. And if customers are struggling in whatever way with those bills, just to engage our customer service folks. They are trained, they are capable to assist them in any way, and that just will live out our passion and our core values and the work that we do. In the next slide here, I want to talk a little bit about internally to the organization. We begin to identify really critical, essential personnel and how we will staff that in the event we begin to see the impacts within our organization. We want to make sure that we ensure not just sufficient fuel supply, but all materials and products for us to be able to do that work. So several weeks ago, our supply folks were in the process to begin to store up and stock up on things that we believe are critical for us, and we'll continue to do that. We have postponed or canceled face-to-face non-essential meetings at OPPD. If it isn't critical to this operation, if it isn't critical to the business continuity or the infectious disease plan work that we're doing today, we have canceled all face-to-face meetings. We don't want the opportunity to increase the probability of impacting any of our employees that have the capability then to impact other employees and families. And we really want to make sure that we utilize all kinds of technological opportunities for us to conclude these meetings. And I would even tell you some of the essential meetings may be done via technology as well. And certainly begin to think about social distancing as we limit the number of people that we will allow meet at any one point in time. A week or so ago, we began to put together a state of the utility proposal where we would go out in the communities and begin to gather community leaders and members, begin to talk about what's going on in our organization. We are essentially going to conduct those online. And so we're working through that process. Unfortunately, there'll probably be a video that I will do, but allow an opportunity to use our online technology to provide customers the opportunity to provide comment or ask additional questions on the work that we're doing around our service territory. Those are just a few things that we're doing relative to our operations. I want to make sure I get this right. I think that's probably it for that one. And then I'm going to go to this one. I would ask our customers on our website. We'll have a lot of information about certainly information that we are paying attention to regarding to what's going on relative to pandemic preparations or COVID-19, whether that's on our OPPD.com wire stories that you may see in the coming days and weeks, our outlets, our OPPD News, which is an internal operation really for our employees, letters that we are planning to send home to all family members. We may get emails at work about how many times do they actually make it home to the kitchen table or on the refrigerator just to let spouses and other family know about the preparation that we're doing for our critical services and the work within our organization of work we're going to be doing in the community. And we'll continue to do that and engage with social media as well on our ongoing activity and preparation. The words that we used in one of our employee communications was, and I'm going to cheat here a little bit, was calmness, and my crowd will yell out what they are here. Calmness, caution, and communication. And so it's important for us as a critical infrastructure facility that provides critical services that we are going to be calm. We're going to be planned, we're going to be methodical, and we're going to execute to make sure that our customers have reliable power. And that's a commitment that we've made to you, and we'll continue to do that over the course of the next coming days, weeks, and months as we begin to prepare and understand the full community and regional impacts of what's going on here today. So with that, I'm going to talk about our last one, and this is an opportunity for us just to reflect on safety and the commitment that many of our employees make each day and the work that they do that can be dangerous. And this is Larry McGrew. He was a lineman. He died on May 16th, 1951 from injuries sustained from a fall while working on a pole near 95th and Military Avenue. He was 35 years old at the time of his death. He had a variety of brothers that were also in the industry. His brother John worked as a lineman for the Nebraska Power Company at the time, OPPD's predecessor. And sadly, in early 1940s, John was also killed doing line work. So great family commitment on the great service that they provide and unfortunately died in the line of duty. And remember those as an important indication of the work that we do all across our service territory. And with that, that concludes the President's report. So thank you.
Excellent report. Thank you, as always. We have an opportunity for comment from members of the public, and I believe our member of the public has indicated that he will move over to the podium on his left, our right. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Don't worry, I'm not going to touch anything. I got here a little late. Ryan Wishart, I'm at a utility citizen owner in Director Williams District, and also faculty at Creighton. I got here a little late because Creighton just decided to move to all online classes. So we're doing that same kind of shifts that you all have been talking about, and I'm glad to hear that OPD is being proactive on this. I was also glad to see the discussion of decarbonization as a priority in the new partnership with Werner Trucking. My comment today is really more of a question that's been partially answered here regarding the plans for outreach around the decarbonization plan that we've been talking about for a few months now. The Tuesday minutes, I think, were the first that I had heard about of the planned meetings that were just announced. The first one's in Blair in a week, or a little less than a week.
That's correct.
So,
yeah, that was less on the specifics on the decarbonization it was really, if you don't mind me saying.
Please do.
But it was a component around that, around all strategic initiatives. And it really wasn't a deep dive into each one of the strategic initiatives. As I sent a note to the members of the board today, our senior management team is reviewing kind of, we believe for the final time, the scope of the decarbonization, and we'll probably do a deeper dive in the April committee meeting. And I have one-on-one schedules with the board members over the course of the next month, and that'll be another opportunity for me to kind of share that in advance prior to that meeting, to get feedback and input and guidance and perspective around it. And just a reminder, those strategic initiatives are really built around our management's response relative to the strategic directives. So we're very serious about that. We also have some very significant other work that's going on right now called Power with Purpose, as we're doing RFPs for solar and RFIs for gas and RFPs for gas assets as well relative to that. And so some of this work is kind of overlapped with some of the resources that we have. And then now we put on top of it some of these other preparedness things that we're doing. So our intent would be to provide some update on the strategic initiatives in April, and hopefully have an opportunity to do a deep dive on the decarbonization, broad decarbonization strategic initiative with maybe a component on one of the elements as well. So that's our intent.
Great. I guess my comment then in closing would be to just further encouragement for as robust of a community engagement
Absolutely.
on these issues as possible, and in ways that are cognizant, which it seems like you guys are, of the current challenges involved that we get.
Yeah, I think what you'll see when we do the deep dive in that, in each of the components, which is around energy portfolio, it's around community, it's around customer, it's around our own internal operations. Those are the kind of the 4 pillars, so to speak, of our broad decarbonization strategy. The intent would be to lay out kind of what that robustness of our stakeholder process would look like. Everything from surveying to power panel to a variety of events in the public to allow that opportunity for comment, input, perspective as we kind of move forward. So, thanks.
Thank you for your comment. With that, yes, you have an opportunity to make your own comments.
Yeah.
Dr. Williams?
I just wanted to follow up and appreciation to Tim and to the entire staff for recognizing the need to address the health concerns we have in the community, and for being proactive both within internal operations and then with the way we engage with our customer owners, because I know it's critically important to them that we provide literally life-saving service. And so thank you for being ready with that and for having a message available to people today, and then to the communications team for sharing that through all of the appropriate channels, through the website and social media. And I have received questions already about what is OPP doing, and again, I appreciate having that message ready so that people know that it's not an issue of question. We are being proactive in sharing that. So again, thanks very much for that.
And we do have work to do yet to get that all loaded and so forth.
Yep. But I appreciate it. Yeah, letting
Learn
people
more
know.
about that. Yeah,
Thanks,
exactly.
Kate.
Letting people know that we do have a plan and that is moving forward. So thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll just add one thing. So to go back to the president's report, as far as people like transitioning home and working from home more and more, putting more a burden on that infrastructure, the best way that OPPD can find out about outages is if the customer owner reports it. So just want to elevate that so that that we can respond in the best and fastest way.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the reminder. We are adjourned.
Voila.